Prophecology. It's more than a philosophy, more than a psychology, more than just an ecology, bigger than biology, larger than anthropology, brushes against astrology. That's Prophecology.
Praise the Lord. I'm Master Prophet E. Bernard Jordan, your most trusted name in prophecy. This is our first video podcast. And in this podcast, I wanted to bring Master Chef Anand, who has been with us for a while, and we're going to talk more about it. How are you doing, Master Chef Anand?
I'm doing very well, Master Prophet. How are you?
Great. Well, let's get a little bit into your background. What started you in culinary arts?
I would have to say the fact that I'm a mama's boy.
Wow.
I got my start in cooking at a young age, helping my mom. I just always wanted to help her because I felt like she had so much to do. So I tried to help her as much as possible, and then got a real interest in the dinner time, the cooking. So eventually, when my mom started going back to college, and she was working full-time and then going to school full-time, I would, she would leave me in charge to kind of cook for the household.
Wow.
So.
And that was at what age?
That was probably age 15.
Age 15.
Yeah.
So then after that, you went on to culinary school?
Yeah, so I went to Johnson & Wales University. I went to culinary, I got my associate's degree in culinary arts. Uh-huh. And then I got a bachelor's degree in food service management. And I got a master's degree in organizational leadership with MBA in global business with a concentration in organizational leadership.
Wow. So who would have ever thought that you would be able to use it in this wide variety? And I think when you first came to us, well, tell us all the different places you've worked.
By the time I came to work for you in 2006, I'd worked at several hotels and bakeries and things like that at Johnson & Wales University. They had actual operations that, they serviced the public and student dining as well. So I worked in several operations from quick service to institutional cooking, big cafeteria style cooking and things like that within the university. And then that was a full-time job while I was going to school. And then I started, when I graduated, I got a job working at Interfaith Medical Center in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's the place where I was born.
Right, that's the hospital you were born at. Mother Jordan did tell me that.
Yes.
I remember that now, back when I started. So, yeah, that's Interfaith Medical Center. I was the food service manager there for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. And then I was introduced to you. And I came and cooked for you. So I had managerial experience. I had some culinary experience, and I think that's what helped me do so well the first time I worked for you for, it was 6 years, I think.
Yeah, about 6 years or so. And so he was working with us for about 6 years, and then he left and went down into where?
Orlando, Florida. Moved down to Orlando, Florida. Had an opportunity with my dad to, a living arrangement to, have a house and things like that. But I was also married, and then we moved down there for more space and, just that opportunity, take advantage of that opportunity.
Now, how many different jobs did you have you was in food services
Yes.
there in Orlando, Florida?
So in Orlando, I first started working as a cook, and then I transferred out of the kitchen completely into procurement. So
procurement. Now, what is procurement?
So procurement is basically I was I was in the purchasing department. I was the food purchaser, that food buyer for the Walt Disney World Swan and Dolphin Resort. And I did that job for about 2 years as well. And then a small company, a food distributor by the name of Culinary Classics. They basically specialize in really, really fine, fancy foods that are exotic and really, unique, hard to get. And, they did things from Japanese Wagyu beef to, 100-year-old balsamic vinegars.
Whoa.
So it was a specialty food distributor. And then they brought me on as their purchasing manager.
So we're good to get all the specialty and all the health-related foods that could really be beneficial to the human body.
That's correct. I learned a lot about, being out of the kitchen. I learned, but still being in the food industry, I was still able to increase my knowledge on, different varieties of vegetables and produce and fruits and foods, other foods too, which I was very grateful for. So I did learn a lot in those years as a food buyer instead of a chef.
My goodness. Okay. So you're listening right now to Master Chef Anand Prasad and Master Prophet Bernard Jordan. And in this year, Prophecology, because it's our first virtual Prophecology, we sent something out to those partners that was a part of the Master Prophet's Blessing Plan, a test package that may be leading from the future. And we're going to tell you what is in that package and how you can use those particular foods and create meals out of them. So, Chef Anand, let's get into from the garden to the table. And I know here y'all started building a garden here as well. Yes. And growing vegetation and different things. But we sent out a package this week, and we're going to talk about that now. What came in the package that the people received? So
in the package that everyone has received, it's basically vegetables that are at the peak of its season right now. It's called the best of the season. So it's a variety of vegetables. And for that purpose, because we are dealing with Mother Nature, maybe not all the boxes may have been identical, but for the most part, they consisted of mixes of lettuce, there's mixes of beets, mixes of tomatoes, there's some mustard green and dark leafy green mixes, and there's also some tiny herbs, micro herbs and microgreens. They've also included some edible flowers for garnish.
Edible. So I know I have you put edible flowers in my vegetable drink.
Yes.
And I, for the first time, ate the flower. It wasn't a bad flower.
It's perfectly edible. Actually, I've used them in the water, in the alkaline water.
Yes.
So they actually, you can taste a little bit of the flavor if you let it soak long enough. But for the most part, it's really beautiful to look at, and they're not flowers that have very strong flavor. So it's not like, something that we use as an ingredient to cook with. It's really for, eye-pleasing, eye candy.
I know. Okay, so I want to say right now, what do we have here as ingredients for this?
Okay, so I'm gonna get up and show you. So here we have these are zebra tomatoes. I don't know if you can see those, but they have little stripes on them.
Yeah, we gotta get the camera to focus on that. Okay, zebra tomatoes.
Yeah, zebra tomatoes. You see how they have those little stripes there? And these are red 100 tomatoes. These are golden sweets. And these are some other larger variety of the heirloom tomatoes. But basically, this is a mix of variety of heirloom tomatoes. Very colorful.
What is this here?
So this is very fun. This is called a patty pan. A sunburst squash. So this is a medley of squash that they include in that particular shape that looks like a Scotsman's bonnet. almost. It's called a sunburst squash.
And these is a squash as
So
well.
this is a squash as well, and this is called a one-ball squash.
Oh my God.
And then the counterpart to that would be the green one here, which is the zucchini, which is the 8-ball squash. And we have zephyr squash here, and we have some baby zucchini, which are also called courgettes. And we have a variety of beets. Whoops.
Sorry. I got it.
And then the beets include golden beets. When you cut these open, you'll see they have a nice bright golden color. And then they have candy cane beets, which are striped, and some red beets here. And then there's some people may have gotten even some badger flame beets, which are pretty cool looking. All right, so these are the edible flowers that the Master Prophet has. These are some different names: Johnny Jump Ups, Bachelor Buttons, and lots of different.
Oh my God, who names all of this? I mean, this is.
So this is an example of red oak lettuce that we have in the mix, and that's very good, very great for salads. This is a nice, cool-looking lettuce. This is called speckled romaine. It has little red freckles on the leaves. And then we have some nice pretty medium-sized sweet potatoes.
And what are these?
And this is red leaf romaine lettuce, baby red. See the head? This is the whole head of the lettuce. It doesn't get any bigger than that, because that's the type of lettuce it is. It's a baby red leaf romaine.
This is the same thing.
Yeah, this is actually red oak.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
I was just thinking it was just the same thing, but it's a whole different.
See, the leaves are a little more curly, and these are a little flat. I keep knocking over these flowers.
It's okay.
So then you'll see on the bottom of this here too, we have some mixed mizuna, mustard greens, and arugula. So those are also very great for the juices and the smoothies that we've been making for you.
What is this here? This is.
And that's bib lettuce. That's also called butterleaf or bib. So this is just a nice tender leaf lettuce, and just on the softer side on the leaves.
Okay, so we have our edible flowers here that you can have here to enjoy. Beets.
Yep, and we have some recipes. So
let's talk about the recipes. So what are some of the recipes that we can work with?
So I picked some recipes that I wanted to keep very simple, very easy, but still they showcase the vegetables. So the first one that we're going to talk about is oven roasted squash with shallots, thyme, and lemon. So we're basically taking all those different squash, and it doesn't matter in your box if you got the patty pans or if you got the 8-ball squash or the zephyr squash. Whatever type of squash you use can be you got in the box can be used in this recipe. So whatever type of squash here, patty pans or the sunburst, any of those, you can use it in this recipe. So this is going to be basically, we cut the zucchinis and the squash into pieces, and we're going to toss that in a bowl with some shallots. And then we're going to add some seasonings, and we're going to roast that in the oven. And that's going to be a basic, fresh summertime dish. It's going to be very flavorful because we have some fresh herbs like the thyme, and then we're going to use alliums like shallots. But if you don't have shallots, you can use red onion as well. Mm-hmm. So a few tips for the summer squashes: that most of the squashes, the skin is edible, so you don't have to worry about peeling them, and you can just wash them very well and cut them into the chunks. And then you can cut off any of the ends that if you see they have some rough or tough ends, you can cut those out. And then if you want to store your patty pans, you can store them in plastic plastic Ziploc bag in the refrigerator, and they'll keep for a while, for days, until you're ready to use them. And the patty pans, the squash, it's a great dish because it's really low in calories. It's very healthy. So it's lots of vitamin A. It's a good source of vitamin C as well. So this is a pretty simple, easy recipe that we'll present for everyone.
Okay, and we'll be posting this. I know sometime with squashes, and I know you're getting into some other meals, can squash be made into spaghetti?
Oh, yes, there's a certain type of squash called spaghetti squash, and that is more on the side of a gourd in the squash family than it is these type of squash.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many different squashes are there?
I may not be able to even to name them all. There are hundreds.
Hundreds of squashes?
Yes.
Look at nature. Nature has it such that no one should starve. Okay, so what other dishes can someone make?
So with the heirloom tomatoes, I picked a heirloom tomato salad with a ginger miso dressing, and the ginger miso dressing is going to be the bridge that brings all the vegetables together. So we're going to basically cut up the tomatoes, and we're going to make a nice dressing with ginger, some miso, some garlic, lemon juice and orange juice. And that ginger miso dressing is versatile. You can use that on a variety of things. And then we'll use some of these beautiful greens that we have here and the lettuce, and then we're basically going to marinate the tomatoes in that dressing and serve it on top of the lettuce. So
wow.
It's a great way to, the dressing is a great way to brighten up quick salads and grain bowls even. Sometimes if you have like a quinoa bowl and things like that, you can use that dressing on there.
How do I make the ginger miso dressing?
The ginger miso dressing, we're going to put all the ingredients. It's basically extra virgin olive oil, some garlic, some grated ginger, lemon juice, orange juice, and white miso paste, and we're going to put that into a blender, and it's as simple as that.
That's simple as that. So I can get the white miso paste from any supermarket?
Yeah, white miso paste, you might be able to find it in some of the specialty, the Asian sections in some of the supermarkets, or you may be able to find it in an Asian grocery store.
Okay, and that's low in calories as well.
Yes, that's a fermented soy. So miso is a fermented soy paste, and it's very good for gut health, being that it's fermented. And yeah, it's and it has a pungent kind of salty, the name in the culinary world that we describe is called umami.
Umami.
Yeah, it's a Japanese word for like an overall savory kind of flavor. So it's interesting, and at first the dressing could be a little pungent, but it mellows out when you pour it over the vegetables.
Okay, great. Okay, what other dish do we have here?
All right, and we have some roasted sweet potatoes and beets. So with the beautiful array of the medley of beets that they're going to give us, this will really be nice, colorful dish. And the sweet potatoes have that beautiful orange color. We're going to basically wash and trim the beets and then roast those separately from the sweet potatoes. And then we combine them later on, and we will put them back onto basically as a side to.
So let me just look at
any
this.
dish.
So you mean that I take these here beets?
Yes.
I'm getting good now. Because I can identify what a beet is. I would have before looked at this from afar and said, oh, this is a small potato. But this is a beet. So I would take the beets and roast these separate and roast the sweet potato here separate.
Yep.
And when you say roasted, I don't know anything about cooking. What is that? I would just put it in a pan. I would just wash them, put them in a can. Would I peel the skin?
Yeah, you would have to peel the skin for the potatoes, peel the beets as well, and then cut them into chunks, maybe about a 3/4 inch dice. You want them, whatever, if you like them large or you like them small, whatever you prefer, just as long as you cut them in a consistent size so they cook evenly.
Good.
But
Oh, especially when cut them in consistent size so they cook evenly.
That's correct.
Oh,
But,
okay.
so you can cut them all small or you can cut them all large. It's up to you. But I would suggest for the cooking times in the recipe, I would suggest about a 3/4 inch, dice or chunk. So cut them into chunks about 3/4 of an inch.
Okay. So when you cook them, you roast them inside an oven.
Yep. So
At about what degree?
At 400 degrees.
400 degrees.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to spread it out onto a pan, a flat, like cookie pan or a sheet pan, and you can line that pan with parchment paper is what I prefer because I don't like to cook with aluminum foil.
Right.
And the parchment paper will prevent that from sticking.
Okay. And then after you roast them, then you would bring them all together?
Yep. Then we you put them all and toss them together in a bowl with some other spices and flavorings that we're going to add. And then this dish can be used pretty much as, versatile as a side dish, or you can put it on top of some grains, or you can put it on top of a salad. So it's a versatile dish. Once you have the components.
And what would be some of the spices would you suggest, Chef Anand, that you would tell the people out there in our audience that's watching? What would be some of the spices you would mix that with?
So I like to, for sweet potatoes, I like to use salt, pepper, some garlic powder or granulated garlic. We like to use the pink Himalayan salt because it has more nutrients. It has more minerals. The mineral is higher in the pink Himalayan salt. So that's what I prefer. And garlic. Yeah, garlic is always a good flavor for me with potatoes and beets. But I don't want it to overspice the vegetables because you really want that sweetness of the beets to come out when they roast, and the sweet potatoes. That sugar, the natural sugars in there are going to come out and really just let that shine.
Wow.
So you just want a little bit of flavorings that'll help, give it that background.
Oh my goodness, I'm ready to break my fast now, but I can't do it until the full moon come in. Okay, and this is great. Okay, and what is another recipe you have?
Okay, so another recipe that we have is the spicy mixed greens and fruit smoothie. And this one, we wanted to show the versatility of all these. You don't have to just think salads when you're, using this product. You're going to see a lot of greens. But we use them in juices and smoothies. You may have seen that on the social media, on Instagram and Facebook. So right now, those spicy greens, the mustard greens and the arugula, the mizuna, those are really good in some of the smoothies. And I chose to have one here where we're going to mix it with banana and apple, some fresh orange juice, and fresh mint. So that's an interesting play, interesting, I think, ingredient to use in a fruit smoothie, and I think that'll really wake up a lot of people's palates.
Wow. Okay, so we're looking at possibly doing this as a monthly thing. When you get the chef box, we talk about these vegetables each month. You can use all of these vegetables up to cook for the next, because they're supposed to cook for a family of two, two people for 14 days. It could last up to
up to 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And it's very possible. I would say because the vegetables last very long.
How do you keep the sustainability of the vegetables?
Well, I'm going to be really, really honest here when I say it's not that hard because the product is so fresh. That product was picked the day before that they received their box.
The day before they got their box. So you listen to this. The day before you got your. So this did not go on a truck to a warehouse sitting, to a supermarket sitting in the back room till it gets out on the shelf. Right,
where you don't know the temperature control for each place in the supply chain. If they kept it at the proper temperature, you're not really sure. You know for a fact that this was everything that's in that box was in the ground, in the earth the day before.
Wow. So when they got their box in their hand, if they got their box, like we got some people that got their boxes today, which is Friday at the time of this recording. That means on Wednesday, those vegetables were still in the earth.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
That's right. And so it makes the job of keeping the produce, storing the vegetables pretty easy, because all you really have to do is maybe, take them out. And I wouldn't even suggest washing them all at once at first. I would leave them and then just wash them before you need to use them, because the added moisture will probably make them go bad quicker. Keep them nice and dry like they are, and then when you're ready to use them, that's when you give them a good washing.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yep.
So don't wash them right away. Wash them when you get ready to use them.
Yes.
Okay.
And then even the micro herbs and the microgreens, you don't even have to wash those, because those don't come from the soil. They grow those in a greenhouse, so that's all like cultivated, and they're pretty clean all by itself, and they're very delicate. So if you wash them, you probably end up bruising them and maybe releasing some of the flavor that they have as well.
Oh wow. Okay, well that was good insight. Okay, so how should they keep them, out or in refrigerators?
In the dry areas, maybe where you would normally keep potatoes or onions. The beets, they would be fine out in the pantry, but you can keep them in the refrigerator as well. And then the lettuce, pretty much all you have to do is maybe take it out of that plastic, wrap it in a little moist paper towel, like dampen some paper towels, and wrap your lettuces in that, and then put that into a Ziploc bag, and then you can, they'll last for weeks like that. Same with the mixed greens, the mixed lettuces, the Mizuna and the arugula, and those mixed greens. You can just, give them a wrap in a moistened paper towel and put that into a Ziploc as well. The mini herbs and the flowers, they can be kept in these little plastic clamshells, these little plastic containers that we call clamshells.
Okay.
And the tomatoes will be in a plastic container as well, and those are fine in the refrigerator. I would suggest, if you're going to use them in a recipe that you're going to serve right away, bring them out to room temperature. The flavor on the tomatoes, you can usually taste better at room temperature. All
right. Well, thank you so much. And when you are connected with us with the Master Prophet's Blessing Plan, and you can call 888-831-0434. That's 888-831-0434, and find out how you can be a part of the Master Prophet's Blessing Plan. We give you books, we give you information, we give you conference material, access to specialized knowledge. But now we're beginning to deal with the science of eating and food preparation. So you're going to begin to see, we're right now we're 12 days into fasting. We got 2 more days to go. Wow. One more night, and then the next night at 12:44, we can actually break the fast. We went from the solar eclipse. That's because my birthday was last month. That was a solar return. Solar eclipse to the lunar eclipse. So this is a very powerful time, very powerful season of fasting for us. But we're doing something here with food and eliminating the food deserts in our communities. So eating healthy, and how important is it for people to eat healthy, Chef?
It's the food is the future of medicine, as we like to say. So it's important for everyone to eat healthy and just try to become the best you. I think when you become healthier, you just become a better person. So
yes. So follow us on Instagram, follow me on Facebook, and you'll begin to see Chef Anand as he's developing his own page as well, answering a lot of your questions and doing healthy eating for healthy living, going from the earth to the table. Well, I'm Master Prophet Ibn R. Jordan, and
I'm Master Chef Anand.
And we want you to know that destiny is not left up to chance, but it is a matter of choice. And thank you for being on this podcast today. Master Chef Anand.
Thank you, Master Prophet. It was a pleasure.
To keep in touch with Master Prophet E. Bernard Jordan, go to www.bishopjordan.com and follow him on all social media platforms. To get more information about the Prophecology Conference and or more special events, go to www.zoeministries.com or call 888-831-0434. Thank you and stay blessed.